And we have a judge now being prosecuted. Reported in The Guardian, that far right-wing publication, the FBI's arrest of Judge Hannah Diner Dugan is a bid to silence dissent. Is it? Is it? Did someone prevent her, Judge Hannah Diner Dugan, from objecting or protesting to American immigration policy? Or was she arrested for committing felonies? Felonies. She's charged with 2. She committed at least 4 felonies, each good, for 5 years in the felony slammer. Here's Pam Bondi talking about it.
The reason they make arrests in courtrooms all the time is because it's safe. A defendant has gone through security. They don't have a weapon.
And by the way, think about it. Why are they able to find these illegal criminal migrants in criminal court to make the arrest? Because they're criminals. These are not the best and brightest of the world coming to America to make us all better. They are charged with crimes again and again and again. That's how ICE knows where to pick them up, in criminal court.
It's an easy arrest. No one's injured. But because she jeopardized the lives of law enforcement officers, even the defendant, by doing this. They had to have a chase down the street while victims of a crime were sitting in a courtroom.
Part of Judge Hannah Diner Dugan's punishment should be to recreate that sprint down the street. Except she's sprinting. It looks like she could use a little exercise.
Judge in jail?
Judge got arrested. She sure did.
So David Brooks, the columnist for the New York Times, who on PBS over the weekend said that the judge acted heroic.
Well,
what do you say to that?
I say the victims of crime should be very happy today, because these victims of crime, they deserve justice. This is a criminal judge sitting on a criminal bench. And anyone who's going to let any criminal defendant out a back door is absurd.
How much harder is your job?
The reason.
All right. So here she is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the judge, Wisconsin Judge Hannah Diner Dugan of the Wisconsin Diner Dugans. Is it a she? Is it a she? Where's my Ketanji Jackson photo? Do we know for sure? Do we know really that this is a woman? I mean, how would we know? I don't know about you. I'm not a biologist. Are you a biologist? How would I know what a woman is? That's her. That's her. Charged with 2 felonies. Here's the criminal complaint. I went over it earlier this week, so I'm not going to do it again. But I just want to point out, they recount, it's so blatant, so much eyewitness testimony about her obstruction of this arrest, and they've charged her under 18 USA 1505 and 18 USC 1071. What is, first of all, her objection, this judge's objection, was that these immigration and ICE and DEA and FBI officers didn't have a judicial warrant. All they had was an administrative warrant for this guy's arrest. This guy who was in court for domestic abuse charges, and his victims had come to court to testify against him. And this judge let him go. Let him flee from lawful arrest, because she didn't like that they didn't have a judicial warrant issued by an Article 3 judge. They had an administrative warrant issued by Article 2 executive branch of the government. Guess what, folks? They don't need a warrant. They don't need any warrant to make this arrest. Here's powers of immigration officers and employees. Powers without a warrant to arrest any alien if he has reason to believe that the alien so arrested in violation of immigration law is likely to escape. Is likely to escape before a warrant can be obtained. That applies to all these people. So they don't need any kind of warrant. If they show up with an administrative warrant, that's a courtesy to others. So they have a piece of official paper to wave. It's not a legal requirement. And there's no such thing as a judicial warrant for this, because they're not being judicially deported. They're being administratively deported. It's a civil action. It's not a criminal action. And the judges don't issue arrest warrants for civil offenses. That's not a thing. These people are insane. They're desperation to keep these people in government. So the charges against this judge, 18 USA 1505, obstruction of a proceeding, 5-year federal felony. The second charge they brought against her, 18 USC 1071, concealing a person from arrest, 5-year federal felony. They did not charge her with a violation of 8 US 1324, which applies to anyone who harbors an alien, which she was doing in her chambers, harboring an alien, another 5-year federal felony. She may think it's all a big joke, but she probably will not think it's a big joke when she shows up on May 15th for her federal court appearance on these felony charges. And by the way, she's no longer a judge on the bench. She's been suspended by the Supreme Court of Wisconsin. The Supreme Court of Wisconsin issues an order. The court has learned that Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Diner Dugan of the Wisconsin Diner Dugans has been charged with 2 federal criminal offenses. It ought to be 3, one of which is a felony. They're both felonies, and one of which is a misdemeanor. Nope, they're both good for 5 years in prison. This court is charged in the Wisconsin Constitution with exercising, superintending, and administrative authority over the courts of this state in the exercise of that constitutional authority and in order to uphold the public's confidence in the courts of this state during the pendency of the criminal proceeding against Judge Hannah Diner Dugan of the Wisconsin Diner Dugans, we conclude on our own motion that it is in the public interest that she be temporarily relieved of her official duties. Nice job, Judge Dugan, and good riddance to bad rubbish.
Did you know that in all 50 states, self-defense law, not gun law, but self-defense law, uses a simple 5-element test to see if your use of defensive force was legally justified? And that same test applies no matter what state you're in or what tool you use to defend yourself. If you're missing even one of those required elements, however, you've made yourself an easy conviction for an aggressive prosecutor. My name is Attorney Andrew Branca, and I've worked more than 30 years as a self-defense attorney. Every state has seemingly endless, complex pages of laws regarding self-defense, so complex that many top criminal defense attorneys rely on my expert analysis to help win self-defense cases for their clients. If the legal code is that complex for lawyers, how can a citizen gun owner expect to know or even follow the law, especially when a life or death situation has triggered a massive adrenaline-fueled mandate to make that fight or flight decision right now? It seems daunting. Yet I created a simple but powerful framework that has allowed me to serve the legal community and countless American gun owners to simplify this legal complexity into just 5 elements of self-defense law. And you can learn my 5-element legal algorithm I use to consult on and win with the top criminal defense attorneys all over the country to protect law-abiding, gun-owning citizens from making innocent legal missteps that land them in prison. Now, with a simple read or listen, you can install my 5-point legal framework so it acts as a sort of muscle memory defense to protect you from losing your rights when you choose to defend innocent human life. Click below to get the latest edition of my book, The Law of Self-Defense Principles, for free. I ask only that you help cover the shipping and handling cost to get the book to you. Thanks for watching this highlight segment of our full-length Law of Self-Defense live stream. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to give us a like and subscribe for more expert analysis on politics, law, and how to be hard to convict. And to watch the full-length episode of this show, just click right here. Stay safe.